Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Crossover. Starring Josh Johnson and Chris McGill. Featuring Christina Thorson. And of course, you, the Instagram live chat. Now, sit back and enjoy this week's edition of The Crossover. Powered by Card Ladder.
Okay. What's new?
Nada. Watching this Laker game.
Yeah, it's not much of a game.
Yeah.
Houston didn't play anybody.
That's going to be the Lakers if on the next game. If they win this one, they won't play anyone.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody, to The Crossover. Today is April 11th, 2025. We start off with any Card Ladder-related announcements.
Not this time.
Nothing this time. And what about mail days?
Nope.
No mail days on this side either, although I am working on my first, real mega card of the year. So
Nice.
I'm excited for that.
We still buy cards. That's crazy.
Well, we got some people wondering how this economy is impacting our collecting, so
I'm wondering as well. I'm interested to hear the answer.
yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay. But the first question, going to talk a little NBA here for the first few questions. Big J Basketball says, please discuss Luka's return to Dallas.
Yeah. So like the video, like the emotional thing or the game and the points. I mean, pretty interesting day, I guess. 45 burger, not too bad. I think that was his most points in a Lakers uniform, right?
Yeah, I think it tied it. Yeah, or maybe it tied a season high or something.
Yeah, he was going off first quarter, hitting threes. I think he had 31 and a half and was just doing his thing.
Yeah.
Fire Miko.
We ready for an early crossover zag?
Sure. No, because there's not much. I just don't. You're like, he sucked that game. Like, I don't know, what could you possibly zag?
No. Not that. Really nice game from the Lakers. The zag is that the intro was highly produced.
Yeah.
By the intro, I mean the video sequence and a camera on him the whole time. And
Yeah.
LeBron is normally announced last, but they intentionally switched that to put Luka as the last name announced. And the towel was there, and just a lot of production. A lot of production went into that.
Like there were some onions maybe around him. You're saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been at other Mavericks home games when they played a thank you video for players. They never do it at the outset of the game.
Right.
They do it like mid-game.
Right.
During a commercial break or something. So
I just kept thinking, if you like this guy so much, why'd you trade him?
Yeah, that too. I mean, it was just really set up to make them look absolutely awful as an organization, and they were the ones controlling it.
Yeah, and like the home fans were, it's like you're conditioned to like the home fans booing the former player every time they touch the ball. They cheered him every time he touched the ball. They were like actively rooting for the Lakers to win down the stretch when he came back in the game. They're like rooting Luka on to like put him away. It's like, just put us out of our misery.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that game or the things surrounding it?
No, I just think it was like another reminder that this was the worst trade of all time, and he just keeps like the nail is already in the casket, but he just keeps hammering it home.
Right. Yeah.
It's such a bad trade, and Davis was like a non-factor. Like he couldn't even handle a double team, and it was just so bad.
Yeah. Hashtag Anthony Davis did nothing wrong. He's had to take a lot of flack as being the other side of the worst trade in the history of sports, or however hyperbolic we want to get. And He did nothing wrong, Like he really like has to eat a shit sandwich on this one.
He's a solid player, but it's like it just looks really bad, by comparison.
Yeah. Okay.
Rui just smoked a dunk. My God.
Don't let this get close enough that these guys have to play in the
He
fourth.
just smoked a dunk, like got caught by the rim. Pathetic.
All right, next up we have from Braun Reeves PC. Which player and team face the most pressure heading into the NBA playoffs?
Which team or player?
Yeah, player, team. Who's facing the most pressure?
I thought about this one. You're gonna like my answer. You ready?
Let's go.
It's OKC and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think they've got a ton of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Like everyone's picking them. They've just been boat racing teams. They've been playing ahead. They have like a historic plus minus of 13 or whatever it is, And I think they've gotten the whistles all season with the fouls and stuff, and I think it's gonna get tight really quick. And I keep Bill always talks about how they're gonna just like beat the crap out of these teams and get to the finals, but like they might have a tough first round. Dude, the 4 through 8 is like could be anybody. It could be the Timberwolves or the Nuggets. Like it could be a tough first round.
Yeah, ton of pressure on OKC. I think and that's because of what talking heads have done. They've created that narrative for them, which they've done a little bit unfairly because Oklahoma City has won one playoff series in 9 years, and they have an unproven coach and an unproven roster. I think their most experienced playoff player is Alex Caruso by a wide margin.
Right. Because of that one Lakers run.
Yeah. Where he was like the eighth man.
Yeah. He's like their third best player.
He is. He's good. He's been really good this year.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of pressure placed on a team that yeah, sure they had a great regular season. So did the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
These guys should have a few more playoff accomplishments on their resume before Kendrick Perkins and Bill Simmons and everybody else project them to just run the table and nobody's going to give it. I saw an ESPN clip today with Courtney Cronin where she's like, "There's only one contender in the West." I'm like,
I remember.
a lot of pressure.
I remember when we were kids, you used to have to lose before you won. You had to like go in and take your lumps.
Right. Yeah. How about the Rockets?
What other teams are you thinking of? The Rockets? What?
Is there any pressure on the Rockets?
No. Give me your next most pressured team.
Okay. Well, I guess like this is really an exercise in who has the media hyped up the most. Yeah. That's the team that has the most pressure.
Something like that.
So we'll go Boston then.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you? Who do you have next?
I'd probably say Boston or the Lakers.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with the Lakers being hyped up at this or whatever. Like they've got the two guys, and I'm fine with it.
Another team getting a lot of late hype is the Clippers, and I think it's warranted.
Yep, dude, they do this every fucking year. They do this every year with the Clippers. Oh, you just wait if they get healthy and everything clicks, and it never does. So I always laugh at the Clipper thing.
Yeah.
They did this last year.
But
when they beat Boston on the road, do you remember that? And they're like, "Oh, Clippers like favorites," and then it fell apart.
Yeah, well, as a person obviously rooting for the Lakers, I think I'd rather play anybody but the Clippers in the first round.
That's what Nick Wright said.
Okay, well, now I changed my take.
He said the one he wants to face the least of their 5 options was the Clippers and then the Nuggets.
Yeah, I completely agree. And then after that, it's the Warriors. That's the next team I'd least like to play.
Yep. And then he said Minnesota and then Memphis.
Yeah, we're aligned. Me and old Nick Wrong.
Yeah, I don't think that's too controversial though. That's what I would have said as well that way. I'd probably switch Denver and the Clippers. And I'd put Clippers third and Golden State second.
Yeah.
Because Jimmy Butler scares me a little bit.
Yep. What about in the East? Is there pressure on the Cavaliers? They are 64-17.
I don't know, I guess.
I think they need to make the conference finals for them to be taken seriously going forward.
Yeah. I could see pressure on the Knicks too.
Yeah.
It kind of
They're going to get the Pistons round one.
it kind of feels wide open in general. Just the fact that we're not like, oh, this is the obvious answer. Like there's a lot of balance, and it seems like a bunch of teams could potentially win it.
Yeah. I hope Damian Lillard is healthy.
Yeah.
I hope he can play in the playoffs because I love Indiana.
Yeah.
They're locked into a 4-5 with Milwaukee, and the spread on game one, which is in Indiana, is Indiana -4.
Yeah.
And I think if Milwaukee has Lillard the way they're playing right now, I might take Milwaukee to win that series.
Totally. That should be a good series. I'm excited for all the matchups.
Yeah.
We won't know the matchups until the last day because of how crazy the West is.
Yeah. Well, the West is going to be really interesting because on Sunday the Clippers and the Warriors play each other, and they can kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the West, if I'm like in the Clippers and the Warriors positions, because they're going to be able to play for the 5 seed, but they also can lose and get the 7 seed. I think the 7 seed or the 8 seed are more desirable than the 5 or the 6. Even understanding that means you have to win a playing game.
Yeah. I think those teams are probably going to want to go for the 4 or the 5.
Yeah.
Just because, like, the play-in, you never know. You don't want to mess with that.
Yeah. All right, one other thing I wanted to do here, NBA-wise, is I wanted to read to you the BPM top 15 with the requirement that these players must basically have been on pace or have played 65 games. So this is going to exclude Kawhi. It's going to exclude Luka. It's going to exclude those guys. And I'll quickly go through the third team, and then we'll do second team and first team. And just if you have any reactions to the players who are on these teams.
What site are you using to do the BPM?
I'm using Basketball Reference.
Okay.
Box plus minus.
Yeah, so start from the bottom.
Yeah, so here's the third team. Starting with the player with the lowest box plus minus, the 15th, all the way up to the 11th. James Harden, J-Dub, Amen Thompson, Anthony Edwards, and Jarrett Allen.
This is, man, Amen Thompson. That's the one that stands out as like, man, he did have a good season.
It stands out. It pisses me off that the hype beast nailed one.
Yeah, because that's why you haven't been shitting on Amen Thompson, because you're like, damn, they actually got this one right.
He's good, man. He's good. And to create a statistical profile this season that scores this highly with box plus minus.
Yeah.
And to do it without being a primary ball handler, it's really impressive.
And
it's impressive.
He had my favorite defensive game of the year.
I know exactly what game that is.
2 points? 2 points? Dude, if LeBron had 2 points, the world would blow up. I mean, come on.
I think somebody DM'd me and said Bronny outscored Curry on that day.
Well, I saw on Twitter the box score of the two, and it was like Curry 1 for 9, 2 points. Bronny 1 for 1, 3 points. Do you want to hear the 4 highest BPM scores of all time?
I mean, I know what they are, but go on.
We collect all 4 of them.
Yeah. That's how we like it.
Yeah. I might need to start collecting Magic Johnson just to get some love here. Jokic, MJ, LeBron, Luka.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Chris Paul's number 10.
Nice. Okay. Also, can I give a shout out to Anthony Edwards for 12th BPM this year? It's really good.
Climbing the rankings.
Yeah,
he's coming for you.
Knowing that I was going to have to give him some respect for that, I did fire off a shot on Twitter today.
Good.
I said these are the 4 young NBA stars whose team is better when they're off the floor.
You're like scouring the internet for stats that make them look bad.
I needed some ammo, and I found some really good ammo. Anthony Edwards, this season, the Timberwolves plus 7.3 per 100 when he's off, plus 2.9 when he's on. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. All right, second team.
A little bit of hate. Okay, second team, going from 10th to 6th. So the lowest ranking player on this team to the highest. Sengun, Mobley, Sabonis, Tatum, Halliburton.
So the one that stands out is probably Sabonis, just how bad the Kings have been.
Yeah.
Like most people would probably like not even consider him for.
Yeah, he's not going to make an All NBA team.
He didn't make the All-Star team.
Right.
The other ones aren't that surprising. Şengün's had a good year.
Yo, how about Mobley? That's another one that Bill looks good on now.
I think that's where he always is like, I've got a ton of Mobley stock, everybody.
Right. Mobley.
Yeah.
He's obviously the highest ranking Cavaliers player.
Well, the fact that Tatum's on this makes me know the top now. Because I was like, he's probably going to be in there, but since he fell to 6th, now I know the top 5.
Shout out to Şengün too.
Yeah.
Top ranking Rockets player, just a little bit ahead of Thompson. And Halliburton, right? Halliburton coming in 6th.
He had a really bad second half of the year last year, and he's done nice to make a nice little comeback this year. He's playing well.
Yeah. And top 5, which is this is like a great hobby top 5 in my opinion.
It's like the top 5 guys.
Yeah, from 5 to 1, LeBron, which is crazy. Curry, I mean, just that alone is worth pausing on for a second. LeBron and Curry are still, per box plus minus, 2 of the 5 best players in the NBA. It's pretty good.
It's annoying that he's above LeBron, but whatever. Keep going.
Yeah, well, there's still a little bit of time here. They were very close. They're very close.
2-point game, probably.
Third, Giannis.
He's always third or second.
Always third, and definitely like is a great player that just doesn't get discussed because he's not part of the drama of the MVP race right now. But
yeah, he's just like 6 or 7 years in a row, just either like first, second, or third in the NBA. He's very consistent.
Yeah, and I would be the least surprised person if he messed around and ran off to the finals this year in the playoffs. Like, we've totally forgotten about him because he had injuries the last 2 playoff runs.
Is he getting the Durant, Aaron Rodgers treatment a little bit here? Or like building towards it where people just are over it or whatever? Maybe not necessarily from the like, social aspect, but on the player trajectory of like, he's not winning, so we're just kind of bored of it.
Yeah, it's a little early. I don't think he's quite there yet, but he's trending in that direction.
Right.
If he were to, if he did a full Durant and goes and signs with the Lakers or something like that, like the Lakers win the title this year, and then he goes and signs there, then I think he'll really be staring at that trajectory.
I think you'd have to lose to the Celtics and then sign in Boston.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah. I would hate that. That'd be awful. We can't. I can't even believe you just said that.
I know. I don't know. I mean, they can't afford him. They've got an insane roster salary.
2 SGA with a crazy BPM is like plus 11 point something. It's one of the better of all time, maybe like top 20 or top 30. And 1 Jokic. So there's your first team. I mean, this is not going to be the first team. I've listened to a lot of people vote. People are moving Curry and LeBron out, and they're bringing Tatum and Donovan Mitchell in.
Which is so funny because they're like, oh, those guys clearly aren't top 5 anymore because they're old. And it's like, actually, they are top 5 still.
Yeah,
you're wrong. The other years you want to put them in here, this is the one you should.
It's very, very – it's just such a weird – it's almost paradoxical that these 2 guys are still clearly some of the biggest promotional pieces of the league. They're anchoring 2 of the biggest franchises. They're statistically, we can show that they're having 2 of the top 5 seasons.
Yeah.
And this is the year that they're going to get bumped out so that Tatum and Donovan Mitchell can get in. Because team wins.
The narrative's going to be like, we did them a solid by putting them on the All-NBA second team, because it's like, because of the nostalgia. And it's like, that's what Bill's been saying at least. Yeah. And it's like, Dude, you actually are still off. It's the first team. Get it
Yeah,
right.
and they've already like they're already so sure of their takes before they actually like sat down and started crunching the numbers. Like
Right.
they all have that process where like once it gets to a few days before the ballots are due, then they actually sit down and look at stuff and pull up Basketball Reference and start figuring things out. But they're so committed to their takes that they're going to look at these numbers and then they're just going to throw their hands up and say, like you said, well, we'll give them second team.
Yeah, that's fine.
And and the other guys who are going to get screwed, probably Halliburton.
Yeah,
Hopefully they give him second team, but he's probably going to get
it's a
screwed.
bonus.
Sengun is probably going to get screwed too.
Bonus won't be in there for sure.
Yeah.
So who is on the outside that's probably going to get in? Mitchell? He wasn't even in the top 15.
Brunson. I don't know if I've heard some people flirting with the idea of putting Brunson onto one of these teams. I don't know if he's going to have enough games, actually. He might.
Where was Mitchell ranked? Surprised top 15.
I don't think he was like super. Yeah, Brunson's going to just make 65 games. I don't think Mitchell was too far off.
Okay. Yeah, Mobley probably not going to get in there, right? Or will he?
Yeah, he might. I think Mobley might just because Bill.
I've heard some.
But like Jared Allen, not a chance.
I've heard some Jaren Jackson talk from some people.
Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome, and he's added like such an offensive component to his game.
Here we go. Go ahead. We can go on.
Yeah. The problem is there's a lot of players who like would have made it but for the 65 games, like Luka, Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler. These guys are all in the top 15, but they don't have enough games. Damian Lillard, he's a little bit outside. Cade Cunningham is the guy who had a nice year.
He didn't play 65 games?
No, he did. He played 69, but he's just a little bit outside.
He might make the real one though.
Yeah, he probably will.
Yeah,
Donovan Mitchell, Karl-Anthony Towns.
Pistons might be the best story of the year in terms of outperforming expectations.
Big time.
They had a great year.
Yeah, they did. Okay. All right. Enough NBA talk. Great season. Did you enjoy the season?
I'm ready for playoffs.
Yeah.
I can't wait for all the terrible takes and poor coverage and shitting on the ratings. I can't wait. They're just going to make fun of themselves nonstop.
All right, let's get to some hobby questions. First up, I've got a cluster of 3, and I'll just read them all together, and then we can respond however we want to these 3. First up is from Sweat47. Will current global economic uncertainty impact the card market, and if so, how? WTF Frankie Podcast asks, how is the current economic situation affecting your own personal collecting? And Insta Account Haver asks, in this economy?
Is this the tariffs of it all?
No, I have there's 2 other questions on tariffs. I've saved the tariffs specific questions for our next block. This one's just, my stock, my 401k portfolio.
Yeah. These are so hard to answer, dude. I'm really not good at the butterfly effect of the market and I also whenever this question comes up and then anytime we do any sort of accountability for this later, it never aligns with what we thought or just, it wasn't like, oh, remember we had that 3-month bull run and that coincided with a 2-month lag and a 3-month bull run for the hobby. It doesn't really work like that.
Right. That's why I like Frankie's. Frankie's just says, how is the current economic situation affecting your personal collecting? So we'll I don't have a macro answer either, but zooming in on the personal level, is, looking at the S&P 500 impacting how you're buying and selling and trading cards right now?
The issue with that, which you're going to nod your head profusely is like the 101s come up when they come up, man. Like I just can't help it, you know. If like the 101 that I'm after comes up next week or a month from now or a year, that's kind of when it happens. You got to figure it out. That's what is great. This is one of my favorite parts of the hobby, though, is we can use our existing collateral that we've built up in the hobby to shift things around. If the financial world is crumbling around us, at least we can relatively still move at the same pace, because if everything comes down, the cards you're trying to buy go down in value, and the stuff you're selling off to get that, is also down. So it's relatively, you should be fine.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the fact that the S&P 500 is 15% off of its high would lead to people realizing that the dollar can buy much more in the stock market than it could a week or 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And they'll stop buying cards and just leave little old me over here and, go use your much more powerful dollar now that has way more purchasing power on the stock market. But every time I have an instinct like that, most people I talk to feel the opposite. Like when the S&P is at 6,000, they just want to buy more and more. And when it's at 5,200, they're terrified.
I never understood this take. My other favorite take of this is like when media pundits are like, "You guys, this is really bad. The stock market's tanking. Everyone's broke." It's like, this is just giving more chances for the regular people to jump in and buy some stock. Everyone always bitches about how they didn't invest enough in 2008 after the crash, and that's how all these people got rich. And it's like, and now you have, if you think you have that chance now, then this should be good.
Yeah, and it's always framed in terms of the value of the stocks went down.
Don't sell.
Additionally, the corollary of that is that the value of your dollar went up.
You're such a positive guy, Chris. You just have the spins.
We're just finding the silver lining here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You could always do that, dude. And also when Bitcoin goes down, it's great.
Right. Yeah, honestly, like I have no mind at all. My collecting approach has not even changed in the slightest.
You should write that caption down. I have no mind at all. Someone probably like just video grab that little part and cut out the rest.
Yeah.
It'll show up on CNN tomorrow.
Okay, let's go to the next block, the tariff block.
The tariffs of it all.
Cards and Candy 911. Will these tariffs affect U.S. buyers who are buying from Card Hobby? And Mike Pinkerton 50. Will the tariffs affect the hobby? Period.
I was joking with my wife today that the sentence "What is a tariff?" is probably the most Googled thing of the week. People are like tariff experts now, and like clearly nobody has any idea what it actually means and like the macroeconomics.
What if I just came out right now as like a tariff expert?
Dude, there's so many people on X that are like, guys, this is really bad. Tariffs are terrible.
The Smoot-Hawley Act.
Yeah. And I definitely don't have any idea how the tariffs affect things like short term, long term. It's more like I'm trying to learn about it, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know how it'll affect the hobby. No idea. No clue. Maybe like PSA had to halt some stuff, so like the grading demand will go down and we can grade cards faster. That's how I looked at it.
Yeah, obviously slowing down the ability to send money and cards across international borders is going to slow down the economy of sports cards.
Yeah.
I think that's without question. What's the movie that has the Ben Stein scene that like was all over Twitter for a few days, where he Ferris Bueller's Day Off, like that, like people are like, look, like this clip from this ridiculous movie from the 80s this is proves that my take on tariffs is correct.
Source of truth, dude. There's been like a bunch of Seinfeld clips too of like tariffs and like conspiracy theories. Like they've been shown different. Have you seen some of these?
Oh, I haven't seen the Seinfeld one.
There's some really good Seinfeld ones. I'll send you.
Nice.
The red dot.
I also am concerned. I mean, a lot of the grail cards that we like come either go over to Asia and come back, or they get pulled in Asia and then they have to find their way back.
Yeah.
I guess in either
Didn't
event,
he
they start here, but
didn't he pause all of them except China?
I think that's right.
Or he paused
Or reduced some of them. I don't know.
he paused the ones where they reached out or something like that.
Yeah.
And then China got increased. It all seems like it's changing daily, so I don't know that it's I was laughing at a couple political advisors are like making these big proclamations, and the next day, by the time their content comes out, it's already changed. It's like,
Yeah. Well,
maybe just hold off.
when my Grail card pops up on Card Hobby and Trump makes me pay 2x for it, then you're gonna get then my tariff expertise is just gonna blossom, and I'll be railing on the next crossover.
Jokic BPM will have to take a break.
All right. From Weekends Are for Cards. Do we ever see a scenario where the focus on collecting rarity and scarcity actually becomes a detriment to the hobby? For example, the hoarding of the most desirable Logo Man cards by just a few collectors prevents a more expansive collecting experience for the rest of us. Always love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought of this question as like the investors and the corporations are starting to figure out that we all want the one-on-ones, and they're like beating us to the punch.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow Dick's figured out the debut patch one-on-one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dick's was probably guided into that because the debut patch autograph was a new invention. So,
Dicks were guided into that?
yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is a great point, isn't it? Just sort of the observation that there just ain't enough, as Brent from PWCC used to say, there just ain't enough to go around.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
That's what makes it
Problem, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what makes it fun. The harder it is to get these, then the more fun it is for us.
All right. From PLB Cards, are funding services causing an increase in prices for high-end cards since more people now have ways to acquire them?
Yeah, probably, I guess. I was thinking that the best feature of the funding services is that it keeps all the money in the hobby. Right?
Okay.
Because you're like not giving up any of your cash. You're putting those cards back into other collections, and then you're adding a new card into your. There's just like no in and out of money.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just cards moving around, which is good. So I don't know. I guess it could because people have more opportunity to buy cards and raise the feel like they can bid up higher because they've got more leverage.
I think that's a nice statement in support of the card funding services. But what about this fact that it's having an inflationary effect on the high-end card prices because way more people have a much easier ability to create the funding for higher-end cards that maybe when it would have taken a lot of work on their own behalf to sell all their cards, they might not have done.
I think that is massively outweighed by the desire of flippers and repackers to bid up cards for the chance to immediately sell it for more. I think that is like way more prevalent.
So that's the bigger problem.
Yeah, that one's like 90% of the 100. 10% is the fund your cards thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds about right. I just have to acknowledge a great business idea that I saw in the chat from Publius. Going back to the tariffs for a second, he mentioned that there's now an opportunity for young entrepreneurs to start a smuggling business of cards from China to America. Somebody could essentially be a mule and smuggle in your grail for 10%. He actually named where that grail would go. And then he puts the cherry on it by pointing out that this would also increase the demand for reholdering services. This could be a real boon for the economics of the hobby.
Good news for the hobby then, I guess.
From WTF Frankie podcast, are these Cheeto auctions making the hobby look silly?
No, it's making the Cheeto world look silly.
The Cheeto hobby?
It's making the people who bid on them look silly. We have nothing to do with this. Just like people tried to glob the what's the NFT one? The card one? What's that called? Top Shot. Just like people try to glob Top Shot onto us. We rejected it. It's not a part of us. Nice try. These Cheetos have nothing to do with us.
I see what's going on here. So you're saying there's no basis to lump us in with this.
Absolutely not. It doesn't even make any sense. They're not even cards. They're not paper. It doesn't even make any sense.
So this is just another example for us to sort of point at and say, look, all these, allegedly adjacent categories to cards, this is not where we want to be.
We are closer to coins and artwork than Cheetos are to cards.
Can we just give Cheeto to the art world, actually?
Yeah, you can have it. It's like, have you seen the banana taped to the wall? It's closer to that.
How does that banana stay fresh, by the way? We've been over this.
It's not a real banana, probably. It's AI. I don't know.
It's 1,000 guys overseas. Okay, so here's the problem, all right? Here's the problem.
Yeah, you can't just bust that one out yet. The world's not ready for that take.
Here's the problem.
All right.
We could pass this off as belonging to the art world if it was like those art auctions, they're very fancy. You have the auctioneer, he's talking quick, he's hitting his hammer. If the Cheeto was being sold in that format, then we could just this is out of sight, out of mind. But one of the premier card marketplaces is the entity that's selling these Cheetos and is promoting them and making viral content. And then Steve Aoki, one of the card collecting influencers of the pandemic, is putting bids on the Michael Jordan one. That's what makes it a little harder for us to dissociate from this.
Yeah, sure. Until someone eats them. Then we're back to where we started. I don't know, man. This will pass. It's just such a short fling. I don't even care. It'll go away.
Yeah.
Or the Cheeto company will start printing shaped ones. They'll 3D print them. It's not even real food anyways. Come on.
Well, there was a viral video on Twitter, probably started on TikTok and then made its way over there a few days later, of people buying out the Cheeto packs.
They're at Target, they're at Target and it says limit 1 per customer and stuff like that.
I mean, someone at the Cheeto factories, got to be tempted to slide a mold into the Cheeto printer.
That's what I'm saying. It's so far from real food that they could just start printing different shapes. It's just fake food.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it actually low key. It is a really bad, a really bad piece of content or marketing for the collecting world. So I encourage this.
You're saying I shouldn't ignore it. I should take this more seriously.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it needs. There's nothing we can do. But yeah. It certainly makes everything else that's in an auction with a Cheeto that sells for $87,000. It makes every other item in that auction look stupid.
Yeah, stupid cheap. We're getting values, bro. We look like geniuses.
Especially the ones that sold for less.
Yeah, every LeBron that sells for less. I'm just gonna buy that, I guess.
Yeah. Now, if this is just I think we're on the third Cheeto now. There was the Charizard Cheeto and a Michael Jordan Cheeto, and now I think there's a new Cheeto.
Maybe I'm spelling it wrong, but they're not showing up in card letter. I guess we do a pretty decent job of filtering out Cheetos.
Yeah. I have a great business idea. What do you think about Cheeto Ladder? So
Yeah.
it's if we just stop here, if the gimmick stops here and it just is like, something very goofy, like almost it can be written off as like a Cheeto marketing ploy. But if people try to make this a category,
Okay. Dude, this feels more like the egg thing.
the egg card,
Yeah, this
yeah,
is like so silly.
yeah, it's silly, but somebody put 87 grand down.
Yeah, we know who. He told us. He fucking bid on camera.
Did Dix buy the Cheeto too?
That'd be good.
All right. From Jeff Rose Jordans. Am I the only one hoping the card values decline so I can get at least some of the higher end cards that I want, even if this means all the cards that are already in my collection go down as well?
Definitely not the only one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us. We're out there. We're weird and we're out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, why not just like totally complete this hypothetical and say, I want all of the high-end cards that I desire to go down in value as much as possible and come on the market all at the same time. I'll buy them all. Then everybody will increase the demand rapidly for those. And then I'll be sitting on a gold mine of cards and I will have completed every card that I want. Because isn't that the ultimate, that's the ultimate outcome, I think.
Yeah.
But rarely will it pan out that well. That's why I get it. I certainly hope that the cards that I still want to collect, and there are many, many, many of them, I certainly hope that I can get them for as cheap as possible. But I'm not going to, I suppose I'm not going to wait around for it to happen.
Yeah, this feels like the scenario where you and everybody else wants that, and then you all rush to go get them cheap, and then it's actually not cheap.
Right. And there's something to the idea that if something really drops in value substantially, it probably means something. If everybody just, because what it means is that everybody stopped wanting it, or everybody left the hobby, or so it's a bit of a mixed bag. You can't just get a price drop without something precipitating it.
Yeah. At this point, it feels like the only thing that could bring that on is like a massive recession or something,
Right.
The tariffs just blow up on our face, I guess.
Yeah. All right. From Out of Wax, totally different perspective. Setting all-time highs for PC cards is not only healthy for the hobby, it is your duty.
What do you mean your duty? What does that mean?
You have a duty to go out there and pay strong for your grails.
Make a bid.
Make bids.
It's my duty. Is this like this emoji?
Yeah.
The salute?
Right.
Don't worry. I'm always paying all-time highs like the doofus that I am. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah. We don't need to encourage anybody to do that. We need to encourage people to not do that as much.
I nominate myself as tribute.
Cheeto prices have to come down.
I wish.
From Drake's PC, these are your opinions and people can collect what they like. But when do you feel that non-playing days cards matter? Is it if the parallel, such as a superfractor or a gold prism or a nebula, did not exist during the player's playing days?
Maybe they if you collect Aaron Donald or something and now he finally has a nebula and he's technically not playing this year. I don't know. I feel like it's easier to just keep the rules strict and not give any exceptions at all. And you could still be totally fine building a great collection.
Yeah.
Because if you break the exception with something like that, that opens you up to just not having the rule at all.
Yeah. So what is your personal rule?
No playing days. No cards outside playing years.
Yeah.
It's just easier that way.
Yep, that's the same way I approach it too. And Drake gave examples of like the superfractor, but here's a different example that really pertains to me, and I had to make a decision on this early on. So for Michael Jordan, all the exquisite stuff is cards that did not exist during his playing days. So that falls into this category too. Non-playing days cards that are of sets and parallels that didn't exist during his playing days. And I still have stayed far away from Jordan Exquisite. But by the same token, that stuff is really strong. The market for it is really strong. So maybe that is part of the factor there, is that because Jordan doesn't have any playing days exquisite, the non-playing days is the best you're going to do. And people who love exquisite, go for it.
Yeah, especially because MJ's like tied to the brand, Upper Deck and Exquisite. He was part of the first year release and obviously like a big part of the branding and marketing for it.
Yeah. How about this from IRL Cards? Just collect a player that played for those years if you want to get those parallels or those products.
Yeah, LeBron, great option.
Right. Pretty sure Kobe was active for those years.
You said that, I did not. This is not meant to be financial advice anymore.
From Simply Cards 2014, the Donruss Optic Green out of 5 does not seem to have much appeal, especially compared to its out of 5 counterpart in Prism, which is the gold vinyl out of 5. In hindsight, what would have been a better pattern or color to make the Optic out of 5 more desirable?
Anything else? I don't know, like black gold or something, whatever. Black, anything. I guess they have black 101s now in Optic, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, it seemed like they just sort of ran, maybe like red, because people associate that with like baseball red being rare and Topps Chrome and the old basketball Topps Chrome and Bowman. Maybe people might associate that with rarity.
Yeah. Right. Also, it's not so bad. I mean, it's not the worst thing that you have a really rare card that's a weird color, just doesn't have the tradition.
Yeah.
Because then if you're somebody who like loves rarity, you can sort of make the concession. Like, I'll get the one that only has out of 5, even though I know it's not nearly as desired as the out of 10.
Yeah.
The true gold. Like, there's something interesting about that.
Yeah, it's like the hack that sometimes you play with the 101s. It's like, I can get the 101 that's like the platinum or the black stars and get it for a lot cheaper, but still have the 101.
Exactly. Okay. From Basketball Card Collector 93, who is going to buy the Jordan Kobe Exquisite Dual Logo Band Autograph 1 of 1? And then it's a multiple choice. Will it be dentists, kids, or is it going to be dicks?
Oh man, would you be surprised if the corporation bought this one? I would not be.
That's a good question. I don't see. So Carbon on the last crossover pointed out that there was a company that had purchased an exquisite card before for $40,000 as a promotional piece. I think Dick's was, like I said before, they were guided to the debut patch autograph by Fanatics.
They sell the jersey. Yeah, they sell the jerseys at their stores. It kind of makes sense.
On that level, that made sense. And Fanatics obviously wants to create the perception that these debut patch autographs are worth 7 figures, because when the next product that comes out that has them, that should drive up the price of all those boxes, and that's going to make more money for Fanatics.
I think I saw South posted like another MLB patch debut card that was like placed with a kid, and they had a photo shoot with the team, and there's been a couple instances of this.
Yeah, I'm not letting go of the
journal of it all.
The journal of it all.
Yeah, of course, dude. Because there's been a couple other instances where the kid is like with the team next to the dugout with the you know what I mean? It's like it's a marketing thing.
So because of that, I don't think we can just necessarily leap from
Sure.
Dick's bought the Skeens card and like this Jordan Kobe is a way better card. So why, obviously Dick's is going to want to buy this too.
Sure. That's why it'll be Microsoft buying it instead of no, I don't know. It's so much money, dude, that it's just gonna be a couple people that could possibly afford it, you know?
Yeah. Yep. And sending it to auction is an interesting decision.
Yes, it is. And apparently the seller turned down an $8 million offer. Is that the rumor?
I read that somewhere online.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yep.
Do we
All right.
know why one of the patches is gold?
I don't know why. I know there's it means there's a reason for it, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, well. And I also thought it was weird the auto didn't get graded. PSA 6 without the auto grade, that would deter me a little bit.
All right, from Roundtree 13 cards, how many times per day is too many to search new listings on eBay and other platforms?
I don't think there is too many. How many seconds are in a day?
Right.
How fast is the refresh on eBay's website?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on like what's your stance on like spending time with family and hygiene and things like that. Like, do you have to shower every day? I don't know.
Yeah, right. What's your stance on screen time?
Right.
I don't
Do you require sleep?
I think that I think if you have a well-written saved search, I think it's reasonable to look at it every time it gets a new update.
Jeez. Push notifications.
Yeah. All right. Bleecker Street Cards says, what baseball player would you collect if you did? I expect a stats nerd answer from Chris. Parentheses, don't zag, even though every bone in your body will tell you to. End parentheses. An answer based on vibes and availability of one-of-ones will come from Josh. And a fuming denial of the question will come from Christina.
I'm looking up the highest WAR of all time.
Nice.
Let's see. Babe Ruth. Walter Johnson, Cy Young. These guys don't have good cards. Sorry, you're out. Number 4, the answer is Barry Bonds.
Which I believe somebody predicted you would pick.
Yeah. And I said steroids aren't a big deal.
Here we go. But you said they're overblown?
Yeah. Come on. Although it's whatever. He's fine. You still got to swing the bat or whatever. There's some like baseball phrase of people that are like pro steroids.
Right. The steroid didn't swing the bat?
Something like that. Or like, baseball is more about like your eyes and your hand speed and contact or whatever. I don't know anything about baseball, dude. I'm looking at this list of all time. It's a lot of old dudes.
It's kind of a boring list, isn't it?
It's horrible.
I think that's
Alex Rodriguez.
I think one of the great mistakes that baseball analysts make is prioritizing the cumulative over the rate.
Got it. Because all these dudes, every single one of them, has 20 plus years in the majors.
Yeah.
This is like a list of a bunch of Kareem Abdul-Jabbars.
Right, exactly. Do you know how old Ohtani is?
In age or seasons played?
Years. Adult age. Yeah, lifespan.
Like he's not going to get to 20 years played because he came in later or something?
He's turning 31
No.
in a few months.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's not going to be on any of these lists.
Right.
I didn't know that. Is this something with his Japan league? Like he came over later or something?
That's my understanding, yeah. He sort of like developed further over there to create a bigger demand for himself in the MLB.
He's 30.
Yeah. He turns 31 this summer, right?
Dude, Juan Soto's 26, Aaron Judge is 32. These guys are like ancient.
Well, that's the hard part about it, right? Is that being good for a long time is better than being great for a shorter time in baseball with land.
Yeah, WAR is like a VORP, isn't it? Like where it's cumulative.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there should be like a WAR per season or something like that.
Yeah. They do have rate statistics. They do have them. They don't really like to measure using them.
Interesting. Probably because they feel like the percentage of getting a hit is so low that like it's just easier for them to just add it up, you know?
Right.
But that's a guess.
Now, Ohtani already has 3 MVPs, which in baseball there's 2 MVPs every year, so it's not equivalent to an NBA or an NFL MVP.
Let's look up most MVPs in baseball history.
Well, he's tied for second with 3.
Well, let's see before you just start saying stuff.
It's a huge tie for second at 3, but that's second place is 3.
Guess who's number 1?
Big Barry.
This looks like a case of they didn't start handing out MVPs until after Babe Ruth.
That's true, yeah. MVP didn't come around for a while.
Dude, that's the craziest stat I've heard this year. Barry Bonds has 7 MVPs, and the second most is 3.
It's 3, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And second is Ohtani?
Yeah. And Trout's right there, too, with 3 as well.
Trout, Pujols, A-Rod, Mike Schmidt, Mickey Mantle. That's crazy that no one else got more than 3 with all these guys. Stan Musial back to the 40s has 3. Joe DiMaggio to the 30s. Jimmy Fox in the 30s, 3. That's crazy that no one else has 4.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much weight the MVP carries in baseball, but Ohtani just needs 1 more.
And he's probably the favorite for it this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a very boring answer, but Ohtani is probably the guy I'd look at carefully.
I think Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player of all time.
There you go.
So
He's got
suck on
7
that.
MVPs.
Suck on that.
All right. That's way more baseball talk than you guys deserve.
Dude, he won 3 MVPs before the steroid era.
Yeah.
He has the most MVPs in Major League history before steroids.
Maybe we need to bring this MVP talk over into baseball.
These guys couldn't handle our stats. Their minds would blow up. We'd be like, Babe Ruth sucks, and they would just immediately start just getting real pissed off.
Can you imagine us doing like a solid 5 minutes on exit velocity?
I mean, yes, I can.
All right.
That's the speed of the ball coming off the bat?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a launch angles. You ever heard of that?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. See, we know stuff.
Big on launch angles. Okay.
So it's 6.
Mostly 90s basketball card says, if I ask a question without a clear motive, how do you determine what the zag will be?
You're the zag master. This is your question.
Well, this question clearly has a motive.
The question is to trap you. The motive is to trap you.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you zag against a question that wants to know how you zag?
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have to give a straightforward answer.
Honesty is the best policy, my friend.
And so the straightforward answer would be, it's just a question of how good we are at sussing out the motive. Because there's always a motive. I mean, there's always a motive. You're just sitting there and asking even the most innocuous question, something motivated your action. It's just, can we figure out what it was?
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't run the numbers, but I don't think we've ever missed when analyzing motives.
Dude, MLB.com tracks barrel percentage.
Well, that's because of those torpedo bats or whatever.
The percentage of pitches that you see that hit your barrel of your bat. Aaron Judge, number 2. He's up there.
He's up there in barrel percentage.
I guess so.
Somebody said Elon Musk is shaped like a barrel.
Yeah, he is.
Elon Musk's barrel percentage is off the charts.
He's shaped like the guys from Minecraft.
And then like that car that he makes has the barrel shape. What was that car called? Like the Cybertruck. Yeah.
Yeah. Those things are weird in person. Have you seen one?
Yeah, I've seen a few.
They're jarring when you see them. Whoa, look at that thing. They stand out.
I saw somebody driving one in the water in Grapevine, Texas.
They are not boats, so that might not work.
They're supposed to be able to go a certain depth.
I bet.
Who's first in barrel shares?
Pete Alonso, barrel shares? This sounds like gas, oil prices now we're talking. Barrel futures.
Barrel futures.
Pete Alonso. Dude, I bet you if you spent like a week studying baseball, you would come out of it being like, I think the best player in the world, in the league right now is this. And everyone's like, he's like the 12th best. And you're like, nope, actually.
Oh, that. Then I would have my sweet spot.
Yeah. Because baseball might be ripe for the picking. Because I think they see themselves as like the advanced gurus, the advanced stats guys. Like we're the ones that ushered in Moneyball and all this stuff. And they might just have their minds blown.
My barrel percentage would be going nuts if I was able to find if I was able to determine that like there's all this hype around a few guys and there's just a secret guy whose barrel percentage is off the charts.
Yeah, what if that guy is like Matt McClain and you're just like, dude, I'm a big Matt McClain guy now. I've got his superfractor and all this stuff.
I remember like low-key getting a little bit of hype when Paul Goldschmidt won MVP a few years ago and just being like, I never hear about this guy. He's going to win MVP. This is cool.
That's because my father-in-law really likes him and I bought him a card.
Nice.
Oh, and his Bowman superfractor auto came to market and I sent it to him. I was like, come on, man, you want to take this seriously, you got to get this one. It sold for like $40,000 or whatever. He didn't buy it.
Yeah, that's taking a plunge. That's a cold water plunge.
I think you should move into the Jazz Chisholm market. Like, just take over that market.
Well, if I were to start, maybe we could build like a sports card investing entity around barrel percentage, and we'll call it Barrel Lynch.
Nice. I'm just assuming this is barrels. It says like barrel percentage.
Maybe that's just what are you saying that it means? Is the percentage of the time that they make that they contact the ball with the meat of the barrel?
Something like that. I mean that's what I'm guessing. Yeah. It doesn't. When I hover over it, doesn't even say what it is.
That looks like Excel.
Yeah. It is basically. It says you can download it as an Excel.
All right. That's way more than enough baseball talk.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about baseball till next year now.
I'm fine with that.
All right. From Mike Pinkerton 50 is break. I feel like we've done this maybe a few times. He wants to know, is breaking bad for the hobby? The bad side is that you never make your money back. The good side is that it makes rare cards available.
It takes money from collectors and gives it to companies. That's bad. That's my take.
I like it. I think Mike summed up the pros and the cons pretty well.
It's equivalent to the economy not having money because Vegas is just taking all of it from us.
Okay.
The house always wins.
Just do like one or two more here. Okay, this is a long one. From NYC Hoops Collector. What is your opinion of card companies that recreate cards that were originally error cards or were not intended to be released? Some recent examples are the Frank Thomas No Name or the Ripken Holiday F Face and the Aqueous Test re-releases. more baseball. All of which were originally cards in the junk wax era that were not meant to be released due to errors or obscenities, but they still got out. Does the fact that they are now being artificially recreated and intentionally inserted as super short prints bother you, or do you love it, or are you indifferent? I can see how it might be cool, and I know a lot of people who love it, but it does bother me a little. Just another example of the lack of originality from these companies, and it's not like they don't make a ton of errors on their own, that they still need to steal errors from the past.
Yeah, I like that answer. They answered it perfectly.
Yeah, I don't like
You gotta check that. You gotta check that copyright date, man.
Exactly. That's what I get very concerned about, is like the gimmick of it all.
Yeah, the remake of the every 10 years you remake the Prism from 10 years prior. You just check that copyright date. You can't travel in the past and copyright in the past.
Exactly. I agree.
I'm not a big fan of it. Some people would make the argument that it like rekindles the excitement for the original or whatever, and it raises the value. I don't know. To me, it's gimmicky, and I don't like it usually.
Yeah, I don't like it on the theoretical level.
Yep.
Which I think we just discussed.
Yep.
And I've never liked it on the practical level. So even if I didn't have a philosophical objection to it, I don't like the Jordan retros.
Right.
Nothing against anybody who does, but I don't like the throwback, 2011, 2012 Jambalaya or whatever it was. And all these like remakes of inserts and stuff. That's just not, I don't like it. I think it also like confuses the market for the originals.
Right.
All right. All right, we'll do one more just because I know you love this topic. The card father third. It's actually two questions. The Card Father 13 is the first. He says, with the release of NFL Prism Deca, how do Deca single sales compare to flagship Prism? And how does Deca hold up from the point of view of the collector? Is it more, less, or about the same in terms of desirability? And Jake Sports World says, what are your thoughts on this week's Panini Prism Deca football release? Will you be hunting down the black or the black shimmer one of once?
Prism Deca football now? Ugh. That's my answer. Ugh. So bad. Yeah. Remember when that Yao Ming Prism Deca black sold for like 10 grand?
Yeah.
Yeah. The market seems to be confused by it as well, dude.
Yeah.
Like the Wemby Prism Decas sell for a lot, right? I don't know, dude. It's a total gimmick. It's just like a complete ripoff. And they like reprinted the look to look like 2012. It's so confusing. Like someone coming in and not knowing what they're looking at. It's a 12-year delay on 2012, but it's actually a different product. It's so confusing.
I agree. I won't be looking to pick anything up.
At least it says on the card physically. Here's an example one. Let me show you real quick. Clearly looks like 2012. Same design, but here on the bottom, if you look closely, it says Prism Deca. And this card here is proof that the set, the year, the attributes of the card of when it originally came out matter a lot. And it's not just the fact that it has a player printed on a 2x3 card.
I could not agree more. And
you can make this a one-on-one, you can do whatever you want, but you're messing with the laws of cards.
Also, like, this is the same thing for Prism Monopoly, too. Seeing that Monopoly logo or the Deca logo on the card will always make me want the actual Prism.
Do you give credit back to, like, look at this, dude. What the fuck? Do you give credit back to... Do you give credit back to Panini that at least they, like, put the Deca logo on the card and not try to really confuse people?
In this scenario, yes, but they really confused the shit out of people with the Chronicles Prism Black Finites a few years ago. So they're guilty of doing it before, but at least this time, like, yeah, it's right there on the card that this is not the flagship Prism. This is the Prism Deca spinoff.
I'm trying to find a football sale that stands out. You said it came out this week?
Sounds like it. Yeah, it sounds like it's brand new.
Well, there's like Jaden Daniels sales from last week.
Okay.
So maybe like a week old, but yeah, a couple like random Jaden Daniels Prism Decas out of 150 selling for 1,000. That's just so painful to say out loud, but whatever.
Out of 150?
Yeah, like blue. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I would be really careful with this stuff. They look cool because it's like bringing up nostalgia of 2012, but that's about where it ends.
Yeah.
I feel like most content creators are going to like hype this up because it's the newest product, gets people into the breaks, moves the money around. I think you and I are going to be like, come on, guys.
Yeah. That's definitely where I'm at.
We have to educate and be honest with this stuff.
Yep.
A sealed case for $8,000, dude. $800 a box.
Sheesh.
Remember we used to buy True Prism basketball for $300 a pop? Now the Prism Deca football is $800 a pop. Woo!
Need the S&P 500 to come down a bit more.
I need my dollar. You said my purchasing power was higher. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Michael panics is on the box. Maybe we got time for one more?
Yeah, we got time for one more.
All right.
Here, I have three in front of me. You tell me which one you want. You want one about Asian parallels, Chronicles, basketball, or Luka Simps?
Luka Simps, let's go.
Let's go. Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad. From Publius 13 to bring us home.
Of course.
Known Luka hater and Tatum fanboy.
And Brady auto skeptic.
That actually makes him sound good. I'm trying to make him sound bad.
Oh, my bad.
Here's his topic. Huge Luka simp investor here.
He can't even get through that.
What is his path to be the best player in the world or hold the best player belt?
The belt, the goddamn belt. Nobody has a belt.
Jokic looks primed for an extended peak. Another 2018 draft pick, not named Luka, is about to win MVP. And you know that Victor Wembanyama is coming. Should I be scared that there will not be a Luka era? Or 20 years from now, will we have to engage in revisionist history to create one? And if so, I do know a fan base we can ask for tips.
Yeah, he is just going right at you there. He wants the smoke. Give him the smoke.
You know how he proposed a smuggling business earlier?
Yeah.
He smuggled in a Kobe zinger there.
What did he say?
This question. He said, "We will, if in 20 years from now we need to engage in some revisionist history to prop up Luka, he knows a fan base we can ask for tips."
Got it. I thought that was a shot at the Mavs or something. I get it now. Good.
There's definitely something. There's a Kobe-ness to Luka right now. I think is fair.
In that he's ranked 4th BPM and Kobe's like 40.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch, probably.
Your argument just fell on itself. Kobe is 32. Just below my man Andrei Kirilenko. That's gotta hurt.
AK-47?
Yeah, underrated player.
Yeah.
Dame Lillard.
Dame time?
Manu Ginobili.
Okay. Yep.
Karl Malone. R.I.P. Bill Simmons. He'll do anything to keep Karl Malone out of his rankings. Anything.
Yes, he will.
I changed the cutoff. for points plus rebounds plus assists just so he wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
He's like sitting there with his calculator adding up the three numbers.
Yeah. Luka may be my Luka never finishing first in any advanced stat would be the basketball hobby gods punishing me.
Punishing you because he played at the same time as Jokic?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yep.
I think he'll survive. He'll be okay. He's got 5. He has more first-team All-NBAs than Steph Curry already. He's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there might be a path for him where he's just more of a playoff dog, you know.
You know what his problem is? I'll tell you what his problem is. He's too fat. You know about this? And he's just, he's standing in quicksand. He can't defend. He's too fat.
he's just a cone, if you will.
Yeah, he's a traffic cone. I'll never get the mental image of a 400-pound man telling me that Luka Doncic is too fat and slow. It's just, I can't get that.
Yeah, I don't know. Windhorst has like a beef. Like he just like unprovoked after the Mavericks game, he just comes out and he's like, yeah, but Kyrie is the most skilled player LeBron ever played with. Like,
I think there's like a Windhorst might still have this like, hey, I gotta protect LeBron thing, so he's gotta like try to knock down the totem pole of all these other guys in this era. Maybe I don't know.
I have a theory about. I have a conspiracy on Windhorst.
That he's like, I thought wasn't there something that like LeBron and him weren't as close as he implied or something like that?
I think Windhorst went to LeBron a long time ago, and he was like, because like Windhorst is smart enough, and he went to LeBron and he was like, look, like, because he knows that he doesn't know LeBron, but he's like, look, he's like LeBron, he's like, you just tell everybody that you don't know me, and it'll make me seem really credible when I say great things about you, and we'll just like when it's all said and done, we're gonna link up, man, and we're gonna be best friends. So let me just go do that. And LeBron's just like, what are you talking about, dude?
It's like, what's your name again?
And Windhorst was like, yeah, that's perfect. That's what you got to do.
Well, so back in the day, this was before you were watching basketball, but like ESPN would like, they would like have special reporters that just followed the Cavs and like they were like the LeBron specialists, and it was like Dave McMenamin. And they like tried to make Windhorst that, but everyone was really confused at the time. This is like mid 2000s. And I was always confused too. Like, is this guy like friends with LeBron? Because they keep putting him on the TV every time that there's like LeBron playoff talk, he's choking or whatever. So I don't know. It's been lingering for a long time.
Yeah. Well, LeBron spoke pretty definitively on it not that long ago.
What did he say?
When he was on McAfee's show, he was like,
"Oh, I didn't even watch that interview.
This guy's weird." He's like, "I don't know this guy."
He's like a stalker.
Yeah. He said something along those lines for sure.
Yeah, I could see that. I've never actually seen them stand next to each other.
You're saying they might be the same person?
I'm definitely not saying that. That's the world's weirdest Superman cape.
All right. Let's pick a title. I have 6.
He couldn't even fit in the phone booth.
All right. First title, eat a shit sandwich.
I like the way you emphasized that. That was well done.
Second title, I have no mind at all.
I really like that one.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Third title, it's not a real banana.
It's 1,000 overseas guys.
Fourth title is 1,000 guys overseas.
If you don't have one about like the tariffs of it all, I'm gonna be really upset.
I don't have anything about tariffs.
Do you know anything about SEO? Do you?
No.
Because if you want to capture the SEO, you gotta have the word tariff in your video. It's just like 101 right now. I know. Maybe like eat a shit tariff instead.
All right. Well, the last 2 I have are the steroid didn't swing the bat. Pretty good.
That's good.
And messing with the laws of cards.
Yeah. What was the one before the bat?
1,000 guys overseas?
The AI might struggle with that thumbnail.
Dude, AI is going to shut down our SEO if we expose it like that.
Okay, what was one before that?
I have no mind at all.
Yeah, that's
All
the
right,
one.
That's the one. AI is going to love that one.
I have no tariff at all. What is a tariff? That's a good one.
What is a tariff?
No, I have no mind at all was funny.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Because you like paused after you said it.
As if I just suddenly didn't have a mind. All right. I'll do it.
Maybe.
By the time we next talk, we might be in the playoffs.
We'll be in the play. The play-in kind of goes on for a while. Like the Lakers are going to get like a week off here.
Yeah, that week off is nice.
It's very nice, especially for old LeBron.
Yes, it is. All right.
Did you know he's 40? They haven't mentioned that.
What he's doing for a 40-year-old is unprecedented.
Every time he dunks, he's 40 years old. Oh my God.
All right, see you guys next time. Peace.
CY Card Ladder is the most respected sports card analytics app on the market. We have virtually every card in our system. If the card you are looking for ever sold on one of these platforms, you can find it using Card Ladder's sales history. Easily find recent comps and get a better estimate what your cards are worth. CY Card Ladder is the most trusted and the most reliable sports card analytics app on the market. We know what you want, because Card Ladder was created by collectors for collectors. Join the innovators, not the imitators. Card Ladder, constantly innovating.